I'll start the show. Does she want me to look at the camera or the two-shot where you are?
Where do you want the host to look?
Here or there?
Camera one.
Camera one, got it. Am I starting? I don't see myself on the screen. Did the TV go out or am I not? Is the fade to black button on? There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Why don't we start again? I was waiting to see myself on camera, so. Let's start the show again. Hello and welcome to another edition of Golden Bear Talk. My name is Jeff Dahm and welcome to our show. And we're going to talk a little bit about something that's a little bit more interesting to me. I'm not too familiar about how things work because I've never tried one, but I'm here with Rebecca and she has helped design an escape room, which is kind of a popular thing these days. They're catching a lot of places around the country and malls and other places are opening escape rooms, kind of in an answer to having other things to do at shopping centers that you can't replicate online, like Amazon, which is one reason why a lot of malls are opening up places like this. What was the project you were involved in?
So I was recruited at a maker fair, which those are events where people who are considered makers, who like to make things. Typically, a lot of maker fairs include mostly electronics. So I was there showcasing some of the projects that I had done, and someone came up to me and was like, hey, I'm working on an escape room in Springfield. And since I go to school in Springfield, and, would you be willing to help me with some of the electronics for it? Like, sure, and try to figure some of that out. So there's an escape room in downtown Springfield across from Mass Mutual Center called, I believe it's called Springfield's Great Escape. It's like one of the only ones in that area, so it's pretty easy to find. And they were starting off with a room that was a vampire slayer escape room, sort of.
Okay.
And the whole premise of the thing is that you have to solve all the puzzles in the room to unlock doors and get through. And this in particular one, you also had to get through and kill the vampire.
Okay.
Before the sun came up and it was too late and you couldn't kill him.
Okay.
Or before the sun went down, because vampires come awake at night because they don't do sun.
Right. So it has a theme and there was a plot to the storyline that people would go in. So an escape room isn't necessarily one room. It sounds like there's a journey.
Yeah.
For at least this one.
So some are just one room.
Yeah.
This particular one had 4 rooms that all progressed. And not to give away spoilers or anything to it, but it started off with an outside of a house, and then you go in the house and you go through a couple different rooms inside the house. But in each room, you wouldn't be able to get to the next room without solving the puzzles in the first room. And you're sort of locked in, but you're not really locked in because safety, you can still get out.
Sure.
You can always go back to where you came from, but you can't necessarily go forward.
Right. Okay. Well, that's cool. Why do you think people like this sort of thing?
It's something very different. So it's puzzle solving in a way that you wouldn't necessarily do in your everyday life. It's very stimulating for the brain, and a lot of people like solving crossword puzzles or do Sudoku puzzles, and even puzzle solving video games, which have all been popular for a long time. And escape room sort of the next level of that. It was real life something different and unique that you just need to go through and solve.
Is it something that's really intellectually intensive, or is this kid friendly, or is there different levels?
There are different levels because escape rooms in general have a vast variety out there, and each one's a little different in its level of difficulty, but they're definitely kid friendly. As long as the storyline is kid friendly, it's kid friendly.
Well, that's fun. So when you were working on yours, you were working on electronic components.
Yes.
Was there a design that you needed to work into the storyline and make things work, or was it just a matter of getting things to turn on and flash or whatever it was at a certain point?
So for me, I was given projects in certain elements of the puzzle that I needed to create an electronic solution for. For example, that we needed a way to have a secret door open, and this is in a bookcase. It's my absolute favorite puzzle that I worked on. And we had to figure out a way that this bookcase would swing open. And to trigger that, we had a piano. And we wanted to turn that piano into a sequence of buttons that would open the door.
Oh, okay. Well, that took a lot of know-how in terms of getting the triggers to work and getting motors to move things and things like that.
That one we actually didn't use any motors for. We had buttons. I took apart the piano because it was an upright piano. It was a real piano, not an electronic keyboard. And I hot glued buttons underneath every one, soldered in wires. Which soldering is like hot glue, but with metal.
Right.
So it's metal hot glue. Not everybody interacts with soldering, so not sure. But I was able to put buttons underneath all the keys, and there's a series of 6 buttons, 6 keys that will unlock that door when put in the correct order. Otherwise, it just resets.
Wow, that was not a small trick. It sounds like.
No, I believe there were 40 buttons.
How many hours did you put into that element?
It's hard to say because the code portion of it was extremely simple. It was a bunch of nested loops programmed in a thing called Arduino, which is a version of C. So that portion of it was pretty easy because it's all just nested of the same thing over and over again. But the actual soldering took several hours because I was attaching wires to little bitty buttons, 2 wires to every button, and then putting those into another board so that they'd all be together, and then installing that in the piano with hot glue. So that probably took me a good 15, 20 hours for that entire project. And I didn't even install the door lock. Like I just did the piano.
So how's the escape room been going? How long has it been open?
It's been open for a few months now. It hasn't been open that long.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure because I really only worked on the first room, and he found some other people to work on the others. But it's still been open the last time that I was over there, which was a couple weeks ago.
Well, that must have been a fun time to do some practical hands-on experience.
It was a nice break from homework last year.
Perfect. So, well, thanks for joining us, and maybe we'll get down to downtown Springfield and check out the escape room that they recently opened and that you were able to be a part of. So thanks for joining us and telling us about it. And we'll join us again for another edition of Golden Bear Talks. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. So, not too bad?
Yeah.
All right, cool. It always helps to talk about things that you know a lot about, you know? That breaks the ice a lot. All right.